What's up, guys? I am going to be joined by Tyson today. He is all about calisthenics. He's also a vegan, so you can ask him a little bit about that. He's going to jump on in a sec. Hey, Kyle, what's up? How's it going? Yeah, so ask any questions. I imagine, Kyle, that you do not have any questions about being a vegan, because I imagine that's not really your thing. But hey, I mean, don't judge a book by its cover. I don't know what you've learned in lockdown, so maybe that's your thing now. So yeah, just waiting for him to come on. So he does all about calisthenics. He runs a calisthenics program. I mean, obviously you can ask him about it. He's going to tell us a little bit about it as well. So he's just joined now, so he is going to come right on. That's me. Well done. I'm proud of you. Okay, so Connor is just coming on now. Just wait for the connection. Here we go. How are we?
What's up?
What is up? How are you enjoying the sunshine?
Oh, it's so nice. It's so
Isn't it? Oh, the hottest day so far this year.
Yeah, it's the best. So nice.
Oh, love it. So good. Right, okay, so let's start talking about calisthenics. That is what we are here to talk about. So tell me, firstly, how you got into it in the first place.
Yeah, so when it comes to calisthenics for me, I started off doing a few different styles of training, really. Firstly, when I was super young, like 4 to 6, like really young, I got into rock climbing. So
Nice.
that was something that really started off my journey of just training, I guess, in general. And then from there, it went from rock climbing to gymnastics to parkour, other extreme sports, and then kind of going to the gym a little bit. Like when I slowed down on the sports, just when I was ending up kind of leaving school, leaving sixth form, started training a bit, lifting some weights, and then just got a bit bored. And then eventually, like through other things in life happening, managed to find calisthenics and found that bodyweight training was something that I really enjoyed. And yeah, I just kind of stuck with it. And that was, I guess, like almost 5 years ago. And I've been seriously doing calisthenics for 3 or 4 years now. So yeah.
That's awesome. And it looks so cool as well. It's like you can't not look cool doing a backflip. Like it's not even possible.
Yeah.
If you can do a backflip, you're automatically so cool. It's just like,
Yeah.
well, I mean, you have nothing else to say. You have nothing else to prove after that, right?
Yeah. It's really good fun. I think calisthenics for me is a good mix between gymnastics,
Yeah.
parkour. Like it's something that I wasn't really interested in first. Like I was never keen to build muscle or anything like that. I just wanted to learn cool tricks, and I wanted to get into backflips and just to do stuff that I saw on TV. And then I started wanting to get a bit stronger for myself as well. And then, yeah, it just kind of evolved from that point.
That's awesome. So you've been doing what? You say you've been doing like 3 or 4 years of serious calisthenics.
Yeah. I'd say like fully been into it for about 3 years, just doing bodyweight training. Pretty much the whole time I've been a qualified trainer. I've been interested in it. But really before that point, I was just doing it naturally without knowing that it was called calisthenics.
Yeah. That's awesome. So what's your favorite exercise that you do? Like if you could just do one exercise for a whole month, what would it be?
I mean, the two answers to that. One would be like what the best exercise should be.
Yeah.
In terms of like for your body and all that. And that's probably burpees or something like that. But I would never want to do that. So I would probably pick pull-ups or muscle-ups because that's just my favorite movement for sure.
Okay. Well, I mean, it's what you want. So, I think
I'd pick a muscle up, I think.
Yeah, muscle up. Okay, that's just showing off, though, isn't it? And when did you last pick up a barbell?
I don't know. I mean, I still occasionally do lift weights.
Oh, really? I wasn't expecting that. Right.
I do like I lift weights, but the tiniest bit. Like I'll do supplementary work for like rehab type stuff. Right. I use a lot of resistance bands for that. Like I'll loop a band around the door, and I do loads of stuff for like rotator cuffs and all that. But I don't really specifically go out and like, oh, I really want to bench press today. I'll just bang out like 100 press ups or 500 press ups instead, like in broken sets, obviously.
Yeah,
Also,
just
like,
casually do 500 press ups. Just like, yeah, whatever, man. Just 500. I mean, it's nothing.
yeah.
There's me doing like 10 press ups going, yeah, smashed it today. Yeah, I'm so proud of myself. Just like 500 press ups, casual.
Well, I mean, like, course of an hour, having a little break, chilling for a bit, eating some food in between, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah. Okay. I'll let you off. I'll let you off. And do you still climb or no? Not so much.
Yes and no. Like, I would say last year, before, when I was still able to go out and do stuff and there wasn't this lockdown, I probably climbing like once a month or 2 months,
Okay.
ever. I probably went like 6 times last year, not a lot.
Okay.
But
Do you go, do you top rope or do you boulder?
just bouldering, really.
Just
Like,
bouldering?
I've
Yeah.
lead climbing before, and I've done some outdoor climbing as well. But and some top roping inside. But I prefer just lead bouldering because it's super easy to just go in and mess
It's
about.
so easy, yeah. It's
Yeah.
like, I think bouldering is more like you can just rock up. You don't have to have really any equipment. I mean, yeah, take chalk, but you don't even need it, like, really.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, you could just rock up. Like, you don't even really need shoes. Like, you could just
Yeah,
climb.
I climbed for so long in Converse, like before I
Yeah,
even had
so many people do. I mean, it is a lot easier in climbing shoes, but, you know,
I don't own them now. Like I literally don't
really.
hire them if I go there. Yeah.
Wow. Okay. Well, I mean, all it does is make your feet like more compact, and it gives you like
Yeah.
a little pinky
Climbing
toe.
shoes are great. Like I always use them. I'm too lazy. I just borrow them or I hire them. I'm
I
not
mean,
too
if you're only going 6 times a year, you don't really need your own.
exactly, and it costs £2 to hire them, so it's
Yeah,
probably
it's not really a big deal. Yeah, no, I get that. Right. So, what would you say the benefits are over weights? Like, what are your let's say your 3 top benefits over weights for calisthenics.
okay. So number one, I think that we're as humans built to move naturally. We're supposed to move in lots of different ways, but when you're training with body weight, you really learn your own body. I think this is the same for martial arts. Like you'll obviously know a lot more about this than me, but I think when you're doing something that's controlling your own body weight, you really learn kind of a bit about yourself. It's kind of hard to explain, but I think when you can do even a plank or a press up where you can manipulate your body weight in different ways, and you've got good balance, good coordination, you're just an all-round more functional human. So I think that using body weight strength training should just be the fundamental pillar of anyone's like training journey, really. Whether
Sure.
they're wanting to build muscle or lose fat, body weight training should be the main pillar. And then if you need to add weight at a later date, I think that's totally fine. I'm not against weightlifting at all. It's
Okay.
definitely got its purpose. But I just think that body weight training is the best thing to form like the core foundation of your like athletic routines or whatever you do in your lifestyle.
Absolutely.
So
That's the first one.
so yeah, it's kind of a natural way of moving. That's the first one. Secondly,
Yeah.
I would say, from personal experience, if you're not taking it to the extreme and you're not trying to do elite level gymnastics moves before you're ready, you're less likely to get injured, I feel, than lifting weights.
I was going to ask you about that.
Yeah, like it's a lot harder to overload your body
Yeah.
with stress of, the equivalent of like 200 kilos that you could accidentally do in a bench press when you're not ready. So I think if you use your body weight effectively, like you can still build muscle, you can still drop fat. It takes more creativity, but you're way less likely to injure yourself. Yeah. Another one is like super accessible, so you can do it anywhere. You can do it at home. You can do it when you're traveling. If you're creative enough with it, there are some things you need, like a pull-up bar is going to help, something you can hang from in general. That doesn't have to be a pull-up bar; it could be a tree.
Exactly.
Yeah, like you can do it wherever you are, but it's just super accessible to anyone because you don't need equipment for the majority of the prime movements in calisthenics training. So that's
Yeah. So, and therefore it's cheaper because you don't need any equipment. So therefore that's another little bonus one that we're going to go for. Like even though I only asked you for 3 points, that's the fourth. Why not? We put an extra one in. That's no problem.
But
there's probably thousands more.
And it's super accessible because, like, I always say to my clients and anyone that I'm advising, if you're wanting equipment with calisthenics, it's like a bonus, and there are some things that will really help. And I would say just get on day one because they will help you a lot. It helps adapt leverage. Like that's one of these tools that I use, to make movements easier. say you're doing a press up and you drop to your knees, obviously that's easier because you've got less weight in your arms then. But if you have a set of parallettes, like you don't even need to go onto your knees because your parallettes are going to raise your body up. So you're doing a press up at a different angle anyway. So there are some things that are really useful to have, but you don't need them at all.
Yeah, for sure. No, that's awesome. And so speaking of you training people, I know you have a course. So if you want to tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, so what I do in my online coaching is essentially take people from day one of their calisthenics journey, potentially, or day 1004. Like, you know, it doesn't mean that they have to be at the start, but generally people I work with have started trying some kind of bodyweight training. They're a little bit unsure as to how to progress to the next level, and they need to learn the tools of, you know, how they're going to get there, basically. So I help people go from pretty much a beginner to intermediate position towards more advanced movement. So eventually the goal in mind would be something like a handstand or, you know, some other more elite calisthenics movements eventually. But really, I've worked with a lot of athletes that are at a pretty high level already, you know, in their own head and you know, what other people would perceive that to be. But there are loads of missing links below. Like I'm sure you'll know that from coaching martial arts. Someone may be amazing at a certain discipline, but they'll be lacking in many other areas. So I think what I do with my clients is really just build the basics at first in a 12-week program. So 3 months just gives you the chance to build really good coordination, stability in your joints, like awareness of movement, and body control. And you start working towards skills and you definitely start unlocking new movements, like, you know, new balances and stuff like that. And it's fun, but really just building the foundation and teaching people how to eat right to fuel that as well. And
speaking of which, you are a vegan. Let's talk about that. So how long have you been a vegan?
So I think it's coming up to about 3 years now that I've been eating a fully plant-based diet.
What made you make the leap all the way over?
Yeah, so
you say all the way over. It's like it's not like a river. I mean,
two things really. Like, so people look at veganism with 3 pillars really. They think of the environment, they think of like animal ethics, and then they think of health. And you know, for me, it was never like an ethical decision at the start. So it was never something that I thought, I'm making this lifestyle change because I really want to influence this. But you know, along the way, those 3 pillars are definitely now very important to me. And you know, when it comes to a plant-based diet and lifestyle, I do care a lot about the environment. I care a lot about animal ethics and about, you know, the nutrition and the food I'm putting in my body. But like I said, getting back to the original point, nutrition was my initial thing. So for me, it was like an experiment. I started cutting out dairy first, just to see, like, you know, is it true? Will my spots go away? You know, will I feel better without dairy? Am I going to feel less bloated? And I did. And then even after like 2 days, I stopped drinking these gross whey protein shakes that just weren't agreeing with me.
Yeah, so bad.
Like, well, okay, I feel better. Like dairy, that kind of works. My biggest thing was like cutting out milk and milk products that are in like the ingredients of stuff. That was hard.
Cheese.
Yeah, like,
cheese is always everyone's hardest.
Yeah, everyone's like, oh, I just couldn't give up cheese if I went vegan. But firstly, you don't have to go vegan. Like, you don't have to do the whole thing. It's like saying to someone, you're going to become Mr. Olympia, or you're going to stay unhappy and slightly overweight, you know, where you're at. You don't have to, like, it's not this big hurdle to get to. It's just drop meat 1 time a week. Like, it doesn't have to be a big deal. But anyway, like for me, I moved into it slowly. And for sure, for the first 6 months of that 3 years that I talk about, I was not 100%. Like, you know, even towards the first year, like there are things where I slipped up. But it's kind of like now I would call myself a calisthenics athlete, and that doesn't mean I have to train 6 days a week, every single week. I'm just a human being. So
yeah, I love that. That's awesome.
You don't have, you know, you are what you consistently do, but that's consistently, not every day. Like, you don't necessarily have to be 1000% anything.
For sure. So it's like when people say, I'm on a diet, and then they eat one bad thing and they're like, well, my whole thing's ruined now. And it's like, well, no, you had one bad thing. That doesn't mean your whole life is ruined. It just means that you ate something that you didn't
like. You're making a lifestyle change.
Yeah.
Yeah, it
Exactly.
must be a lifestyle change. It's not a diet that you have to go on or a set thing or whatever. But yeah, for me, like the plant-based thing, going back on what I just said, like for now, for me, I haven't eaten any animal products for over a year and a half, like fully. I'm
Yeah.
pretty sure there's absolutely nothing I've
As far
eaten.
as you know.
Yeah, as far as I know. But again, if I ate a meal and I found there was the tiniest bit of, milk casein in it or something, I'd be disappointed. But at the end of the day, it's not gonna keep me
Yeah.
away from it. It's just
Yeah.
something that I try to do very consciously. It really does help me. And for me, at first, it was like a bit of an experiment to see how I felt. If
Mhm.
taking animal products out of my diet was going to be a good thing for my lifestyle, if it worked, and it did. Like it took some changes, but ultimately, I didn't go from a healthy, like a perfectly healthy diet with, with animal products in to a perfectly healthy diet without animal products. I went from a diet that was pretty crap, like it wasn't very good. I was
Yeah.
eating bad food, chocolate, sweets all the time, like didn't know anything about nutrition, to someone
Yeah.
who has studied nutrition, understands it fully, and is choosing to cut out animal products. So my diet is a lot more optimized now, but it wasn't like it was perfect before, and now it's even better. I don't like
Like it was
comparing.
pretty bad before, and you've made it
It was
quite
quite
a
bad before.
significant amount
Yeah,
better.
yeah. Like I'm being honest. Like I went from a diet that was
Do love it.
great.
I love honesty. I'm all about
Yeah,
that.
I mean, a lot of people think like, oh, you have to go from this certain place to somewhere else. But for me, like I improved things, but I'm sure if I had kept animal products in my diet, like my diet still would have got better. But I
Yeah.
believe and I feel that I'm absolutely living up my potential now because of the dietary choices I make.
For sure.
Uh,
For
and yeah, it
sure.
was an experiment for health. I had gone through a lot of personal stuff in the years before, with regard to my mum passing away because of autoimmune diseases, and
Right.
a
Makes you
link.
very conscious of your own health then.
Yeah, so that event in itself made me really think, okay, I need to evaluate lots of health choices I'm making before I start influencing others and trying to get them on board. I need to be living my life in a way that I would happily influence others with. So if people look to me, I want to be a positive influence, and if I'm
Yeah.
doing something and then preaching something else, I'm not going to
Yeah.
be doing
But
it.
like an active role model. I like to
So,
always say, like,
yeah,
I'm living what I tell other people to do, I will do it as well.
yeah,
Rather
exactly.
than going, you should do this, but why aren't you doing it? Oh, because I can't be asked.
Yeah,
It's like, well, why should I do it then? Like, that doesn't make any sense. Come on.
exactly. You got to practice what you.
Um, and what about, so I find, so I pretty much, I'm vegan apart from my eggs, but they come from the garden. So it's like, they're literally, they haven't gone anywhere. There's no animal welfare
From an
issues here.
ethical
Like
point of view.
their chickens are in the garden and they lay eggs and I bring them in and I eat them.
Yeah.
So yeah, but apart from that, I'm pretty much vegan, I would say.
Cool.
I've never been able to eat dairy, but when I gave up meat, that was the big change for me.
Mhm.
I noticed that my cardio got significantly better. So how do you find it affects your cardio? Do you feel like it's a lot better?
Yeah, I mean, I would say beforehand, when I was eating animal products, like I said, I was active. It wasn't like I had a bad diet and a bad lifestyle. I've always been a climber. I've always been someone that's active. I used to teach outdoor pursuits before
Right.
training fitness. So I was teaching kayaking like every day and all that kind of stuff. So I've always been super active. And I did feel sluggish all the time. Like I was someone that was super active and trying to get fitter, and my cardio was like it was not amazing. I was fit, but I always
Mm.
felt bloated. I always felt had a lack of energy, and that's not just diet. That's because my sleep probably wasn't amazing, and there are other lifestyle factors too. But since cutting out meat and cutting out animal products in general, I do just feel better. I feel naturally lighter. I
Okay.
did lose weight. I lost a little bit of body fat just naturally by doing
Yeah.
nothing else other than my same lifestyle. And I've maintained that. It's not like that ballooned back on.
Yeah.
I haven't lost muscle. I've very steadily built a small amount of muscle mass while I've been vegan, but that has never been my primary goal anyway. I'm
Yeah.
not
For sure.
trying to become a
Yeah.
bodybuilder. I'm just trying to learn movements that I really
Yeah.
enjoy. And with that comes muscle mass. So it's not something that I train for every day. I don't do any bodybuilding training really. So when people say, oh, but you haven't put that much muscle on,
Like I'm not trying to.
I'm not trying to. Like, if I possess the skills, if I really wanted to go turn into some absolute beast. I'm sure I could, but that's really not my goal.
Exactly. It's not your, and also like, can you imagine being 95 kilos doing a backflip? Like, I just can't imagine that going very well.
I'm trying to learn a one-arm handstand and a one-arm front lever. Like, I'm not going to be able to do that if my legs are fine.
Your legs are bigger than your head. It's just like, hold on, this is not going to work for me. Yeah, no, exactly. That's it. It's like, what is your priority? This is your priority. So you're working towards that rather than, you know, like, yeah, I mean, to me, I'm like, everyone should do what makes them feel better. Like for my clients, I'm always, you know, that, oh, does it matter that I don't like this? I'm like, no, eat what you want. As long as not stupid. As long as you're not eating like 6 cakes every day, then do you know what I mean? Like, yeah, there's balance there somewhere. But I'm always, you know, I think it's so important to just sort of say, well, how do you feel your best? What do you feel your best when you eat or when you drink or when you know? And I think that's it's definitely something that
you've got to find what works for you. And I think there's a quote I always like to say, which is like, I think maybe Ross Edgley said it or someone like that. And it was basically become an instrument of your body, you know, not an ornament. So
I like that.
Good, that's the thing. But for me personally, you know, I always laugh when I see comments about calisthenics athletes or gymnasts having small legs or bodybuilders having giant arms and tiny legs, because I think bodybuilding's a bit different because it's a sport that's purely aesthetic. But when it comes to functional sports, whether that's martial arts, whether that's you know, gymnastics or horse riding, whatever it is, like your body should reflect what you want it to do most of the time, and it's like maximum output.
Functionality. Yeah.
So I think, you know, if it's going to be optimal for you to have slightly less muscle mass in your legs and slightly more muscle mass in your lats, if you want to do a front lever,
yeah,
do that. And
that works for your sport.
Yeah, equally, you've got to have big traps if you want to be doing Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu all the time, because you have to be able to brace well. It's just a natural thing. So,
or you have to have technique. I mean,
or you have to have good technique. But you know,
some people like technique. I mean,
somewhere.
I'm not here to judge. You know what I mean? No, but for sure. So, how can people get in contact with you? Because they're definitely going to want to after this chat.
Yeah, so you can always contact me like via Instagram. You know, just hit me up in the DMs. Always replying to them like instantly. So
amazing.
You can hit Connor Tyson PT on Insta. I've got a booking link in my bio as well. Like if anyone wants to get on the phone and have a chat about coaching and stuff like that, you know, we can always jump in on that. And that's just a chance to see where you're at with your calisthenics. If it's something that you're looking to improve, then I always speak to anyone I'm thinking about working with first. Like I never jump anyone straight into a program or straight into one-to-one coaching, because I'm never going to know what they need until I've spoken to them on the phone for a bit. So yeah, that's the easiest thing to do, or just drop me a message if you need anything specifically, and I will always try and kind of direct content to that.
Brilliant. And I will tag you. I'll share this after and I'll tag you so people can contact you straight away.
Cool.
Brilliant. Someone says that you look gorgeous. So that's I mean, you can't get a better compliment than that. Thanks, little Jake. Appreciate that. I mean, you know, don't want to say anything about me. No, cool. Right, fine. Whatever, man. All right, cool. Well, thank you so much for coming on, and no doubt we will speak again soon.
Cheers, Ellen.
All right, see you later. Bye.